Hi guys, it's Leia. Welcome back to my channel. So for today's video, I just want to talk about my trip to Europe. If you watched my first video, you would know that I actually had this trip that I was planning to Europe and it got canceled. And even though I'm not going, I still did plan out almost the whole trip and I learned a lot. So I definitely wanted to spend time talking about it because it was such a time commitment just to plan it. So I was just going to talk a little bit about how I planned the trip and the resources I used, and then what I was supposed to be doing on the trip. I always had wanted to go to Europe. I never thought this would be an attainable goal for me, especially at this point in my life. But then out of the blue, my friend Natalie, who I have been sorority sisters with, friends with for multiple years, she messaged me and sent me a map of a potential Europe trip that she was thinking of doing. And she kind of was like, "Are you interested?" I actually thought it would be better to spend some time backpacking Europe now than trying to move there one day or do it later. I just kind of thought, everything's falling into place. I graduated early. I was able to save up for this trip. It just kind of, I had a friend to go with, like everything just kind of seemed to fall into place. Then Corona came. Basically, from there, how we planned the trip was we took the map, which I'll show you right now. We took this map, which kind of goes through Central Europe, down to Western Europe a bit. But from this, we did a bunch of research. I'll show you screenshots of the Google Doc right now. So we basically made this itinerary on a Google Doc. As you can see, we just had a list of cities from city to city what we were going to be doing. And we tried to estimate the price based on research. As you can see, here it goes by city, which I'll talk about in detail right now. So basically, what I did is I used websites such as thesavvybackpacker.com, girlwiththepassport.com, and the Broke Backpacker. The Broke Backpacker and the Savvy Backpacker were the two I relied on most heavily. And basically, these websites provided me with sample itineraries from girls our age, kind of in our situation. And these itineraries included what to do in each city, how long to stay there, what areas you want to be in, and basically like fun hostels for other young travelers. So we didn't completely copy these itineraries, but we kind of based our schedule of how many days in each city based on this, and then that way we could move forward with booking hostels. So we kind of outlined like the timeline of the trip because we had specific dates. We were supposed to be gone from May 26th to June 26th, so exactly a month. So we just wanted to make sure we had enough time to go to all the cities we wanted and maybe add cities and eliminate cities and whatnot. So once we got on these websites, a lot of the research I personally did was like what sites we wanted to see. So on the Google Doc, you can see, I'll show you Budapest. We were supposed to fly into Budapest first. So you can see that we had a couple things to do on the itinerary for each day. And we basically did this for every city. And then once we were done with that, and I'll go more in depth with each city later, but once we were done making this Google Doc, we pretty much had solidified the basic outline of the trip. So then we went ahead and made a Google spreadsheet, which I'll show you right now. And this spreadsheet, we broke it down by city and country. Here's the one for Budapest. So we broke it down by how much it would cost to get transportation from city to city, how much the hostel would cost, how much food was supposed to cost, all the attractions that were free and the ones that we needed to pay for, how much that was supposed to cost. Now I will go through by city and kind of talk about the highlights of each city. Okay, so in Budapest, we had planned on seeing a bunch of historic sites. There was a castle, a fisherman's bastion, the Jewish quarter. Also, there was something about where there was like shoes to honor Holocaust victims. It was called Shoes on the Dunabe Bank. We definitely wanted to check that out. We're both Jewish and we were very fascinated and wanted to make learning about Judaism a huge part of this trip. And the most exciting highlight of the trip was a tie between the nightlife in Budapest, which was supposed to be really fun, as well as the baths. The baths are very famous. They're these giant baths that you can go to, and it's like the number one do not miss part of Budapest. Next up was Austria. We were going to see two cities in Austria, Vienna and Salzburg. In Vienna, we were really excited to see a lot of museums, a lot of art is housed there. The Vienna Opera was very important that we go see that. And then in Salzburg, that's where they shot The Sound of Music. We were going to do this tour where you see all the sights from the movie and just the picturesque scenery in the back. Next up on the list was Prague. I was really, really excited for Prague. There's a lot of cool things there that are just very trendy right now. A lot of youth go there. I know they have very cool bars. My friend studied abroad there, and she said that they had some where every floor you go up is a different theme. So I was very excited about that. But on the more sightseeing note, there was something called the Astronomical Clock, which is a very cool sight to see. And the thing I was most excited for was the John Lennon Wall. Also in the Czech Republic, we were planning a day trip to Český Krumlov, and that was supposed to include a castle visit and it's just a very beautiful countryside. Okay, so next up was Germany. We were supposed to go to Munich specifically. I'm not even going to attempt to pronounce the name of the beer garden, but there was a beer garden in Munich that's very famous, and we were going to go there and have a picnic and enjoy beer. There's a lot of other tourists and travelers there, so it would have been a fun place to mingle. Another thing that we really wanted to get in was the Glockenspiel Show. For those of you who don't know, it's when there's a clock in the main square and it goes off, and the little characters, like the wooden characters, come out and do a performance and then go back inside, almost like on It's a Small World in Disneyland. So one of the day trips that we were talking about in Germany was going to Rothenberg. Again, it's kind of a cute little town, like a very fairy tale village. I shouldn't say town. It's a very cute fairy tale village with a castle. And then we were also on that same day trip going to visit the Neuschwanstein Castle in Germany. Again, like a very famous castle. It's said to be one of the most beautiful castles in Europe. Don't quote me on that. I've not seen any castles in Europe, so that's just what I read. I'd say out of everything in Germany, the one thing I was most excited for was to visit the Dachau concentration camp. I've never been to a concentration camp, but I know it's such a big part of being Jewish, in our history. And I just thought there was something beautiful about going back to the concentration camp, being at that place where so much history happened. So on a lighter note, after Germany, we were supposed to go to Switzerland, and in Switzerland, we were supposed to go to Lucerne and Zurich. On Lucerne, we were going to do Lake Lucerne, which is a beautiful lake. That's just going to be a relaxing picnic day. We're also going to do Mount Pilatus, and that is where you can go tobogganing. Another day trip we were going to take was to see the Rhine Falls. It's beautiful waterfalls. At this point in the trip, we kind of started talking about Italy. We were going to do Venice, then Florence, and then Rome. But at this point of the trip, it also just kind of started to fall apart. So, like, honestly, we kind of got through planning Florence and a little bit of Rome. But at this point, I just don't think we wanted to invest any more time in Italy. We had thought we definitely would not be able to do Italy, but we'd still be able to do our trip. So we kind of started doing an alternate route. We were talking about maybe doing Spain and Portugal. Okay, so now I just wanted to talk a little bit about how the trip kind of fell apart. After we kind of made an alternate route for Spain, I was a little hesitant to continue booking anything. I did think the situation would get worse, and I just didn't want to put more money into things that were non-refundable, like tours or booking museums. But after, seeing how it started to come to America and things were not getting better, we did end up canceling the trip. It was a very hard decision to cancel. It was pretty disheartening, but I think it helped that it wasn't just us canceling. Everyone had to cancel. At the end of the day, I feel like this happened for a reason, and I think that we needed to replan bits of our trip and come back with a stronger itinerary. So if you have any questions, if you've ever thought about booking a trip, I'm no expert. I didn't even entirely book my trip nor go to Europe, but I did spend hours researching, so I could definitely help you. If you want to catch more videos like this, please like this video and subscribe to my channel. And if you want to get a notification every time I post, click the bell icon down there and you will get notified every time I post. Thank you so much for watching.